Hi, everybody, and welcome back to class. It's Mark, and we're on to week 2 of this very short summer session. For this week, we're going to be jumping into class sessions 3 and 4. I was pleased to see that a couple of folks are working ahead. That's always good. As I've mentioned in the previous video, we don't have a lot of time for this class, so do your best, stay on schedule, you'll do fine. We're going to work on two things. Your first writing project, which is a summary and response to one of the core readings, and we're also going to start looking at MLA, style, and citations. So I'm in class session 3 right now, and we'll take a look at what we have to do. First of all, chapter 24, citing sources using MLA style. That's the only one you need to read. You can read chapter 25, but we're not using APA in this course, so why waste your time? There is a PowerPoint on critical rereading. You will want to review your core reading before you write your first writing project. Principles of peer response, there's a second PowerPoint here. I don't think this one is as important as the critical rereading one, so if you have time, go ahead and view it. If not, I don't think you're going to be hurt too much. And there are two supplemental resources, and as I mentioned before, supplemental means it's up to you if you want to do it or not. If you think you're good in that area, fine, move on. If not, it's there for you. There is an MLA quiz in this session, so it might be a good idea for everyone to review that. But again, if you're very competent in MLA, well, take your chances. I'm going to jump into the learning activities now. And while this is opening, I will mention that I did hear from a couple students over this past week who had trouble with Blackboard, trouble with internet issues, that sort of thing. That happens. It happens every class session. If that ever happens to you, just send me a text and let me know what's going on. If you need an additional couple of hours, maybe carry something over to the next day, I'm fine with that, but you have to tell me. So again, text me anytime and just make sure you tell me who you are when you send your text. Here is the textbook, and again, only read this chapter. Don't think of it as reading, think of it as binge watching a bunch of words. The PowerPoint, which I'm not going to open because I'm trying to keep these videos short. The core reading, which you should have already selected, is located here. I won't open that again. Here is the supplemental MLA practice activity. Again, you do have a short quiz on this. I recommend you look at this first, but again, it is supplemental, so you don't have to do it. I'll never know if you did or you didn't. And let's get into, by the way, I'll point out again, there's tutor.com. Anytime you want to turn something into them, before you turn it into me, they'll give you a free review of it and offer suggestions. It's pretty well done, and it doesn't cost anything. We'll get into the assignments and the assessments. The discussion board. From your critical rereading, you only have to answer 4 of these questions. Now there are 8 listed here. You can do any of them. The first 4, the last 4, the middle 4, whatever. It's up to you. Try and pick 4 that you think you can respond with effectively. And your post needs to be at least 200 words. Now in the next session, which we will also discuss today, you'll also be writing responses to other students. You have to do 2, and those also have to be 200 words. So let's go ahead and open this one up and take a quick glance at it. If it opens, there it is. I misspoke just a minute ago. The drafts are already there. And this is not a very highly graded, I shouldn't say. This particular assignment is not worth a lot of points, so don't stress over it. The final version, yes. The first version, not so much. And it'll be that way throughout this course. You're going to go to the discussions page, scroll down. You need to post your original thread first, and I'll show you what's in there in just a minute. And then pick 2 to respond to. You're free to choose any ones you want. I would prefer, if you see that someone doesn't have any responses, that you try and add one to them. That way everyone gets an equal amount of feedback. And you're going to pick, of these 5, at least 4. I guess you could do all 5 if you wanted, but you don't have to be that wordy. And give them feedback on the following. Analyze their summary of the core reading. It might have been one you read yourself. Analyze the response to the core reading. Analyze the medium and form of the draft. Is it well organized? Is it clear? Does it hit on all the right points? Does it make sense? Are there errors in it? You're not necessarily proofreading for the other students that you're going to respond to, but you want to point out where they could be more effective. Analyze the writing style used in the draft. I think I just covered that. And most importantly, and I think this is probably the biggest one, if you could offer one change, one suggestion on how to make this better, do it. Be polite, be respectful. I know you will, but give them good feedback. So when they turn it in, they've had a second set of eyes, or 2 or 3, that have helped them clarify the writing that they did. Print this out. I'm not going to go through everything here, but print it out, refer back to it. And let's go ahead and take a look at what is in there right now. So we'll go to the discussion board. Looks like 7 students have posted so far. There's a total of 15, either original threads or responses. Let's take a look at Caitlin's, just to pick one at random. And Caitlin didn't post hers by cut and paste. She actually attached a Word document. I like that, because when you're writing in a Word document, you can use F7 spell and grammar check. You can see how it looks on the page. So good job, Caitlin. I'm fine with that. And Caitlin absolutely did this correctly in MLA format. Look at that. That's great. She did it exactly right. I haven't read this, but it looks like the length is good. The format is certainly good, so Caitlin, good job. And Nicole has already posted a response. So, very well done. Let's go back into class session 3, see what else is there, if anything. Oh, the MLA quiz is there. Under assignments and assessments, we covered that, and here it is. I'm not going to open this up. It's not terribly difficult, especially if you review the practice activity first. As the course continues, you will see there are often a practice activity the same week that there is a quiz over a particular subject. If you do the practice activity first, you're going to do great every time. All right, let's go into class session 4, which is more or less a continuation of class session 3. All again on summary and response, and this time including your final draft. One textbook chapter to read, Chapter 5, Understanding Analytical Writing. There is a tutorial on the library. And finishing up Writing Project 1, Summary and Response, and Peer Response Feedback. Under Assignments and Assessments, as you can see, critical rereading, including your 2 responses, a short quiz on the Ivy Tilt, and then the final draft of Writing Project 1. Now you will notice as this class continues, I grade things pretty quickly. I want to get you feedback as soon as possible. So when a class session is finished, you're going to get grades from me on what you turned in probably the next day, maybe 2 days at the most, but I don't like to delay in giving you feedback. We'll jump into learning activities. Make sure you do the Ivy Tilt, the library tutorial. This will come up again in the class later. We're going to look at writing project 1, summary and response. Now for class session 3, we weren't covering the entire document of the instructions. This one will finish it off. And again, this is based on the core readings, not the textbook. The medium is a formal academic manuscript. Minimum of 600 words for the draft, 750 for the final. So you get time to revise, add to it, strengthen it. Of course, in MLA format, we never do anything that is not. So skip this part where it says APA. Now, as the document says, you tuned in the first draft previously. Then you're going to go back, revise, maybe send it to tutor.com, maybe give it to a friend to read. Of course, you got feedback from your peers within the course, and you're going to strengthen it. As I mentioned previously, the first draft is not worth a great deal of points. This one is. So we really want to make sure that we've gotten this as good as it can possibly be. Now, when you're ready to turn it in, you're actually going to turn it into 2 places. One is for plagiarism and source checking, and then a second one to me. Notice it says in here, include a cover letter. And I'm going to go ahead and make a change in this part of the class session and tell you that you don't need one. Work on your draft, make it as good as you can possibly be, but don't send me a cover letter. You don't have to do that this time. And let's take a look and see where we have to turn it in. We'll go back to class sessions. And as I stated last week, it must be a Microsoft Word document. If you use a different format, it just messes everything up. And we're going to go to Assignments and Assessments. There is the Ivy Tilt quiz. Again, that's on the library. Oh, before we jump into where you turn in the paper, here's just a brief thing on the discussion board. Remember, you're going to respond to 2 students who posted in session 3, which is also this week, about 100 words. So you're going to write 200 words total, commenting on what they included. And this is where you're going to turn it in. This first one comes to me, included as an attachment. I don't think anyone in this class will do this, but it has come up before, where a person cuts and pastes their assignment and puts it in comments. Oh, don't do that. Not that you would. Include it as an attachment, hit browse, find your file, and it'll come to me that way. But that's only one of 2 places. The second one, this computer is moving slow today, goes right here. And that is the originality checking. Send it into both. This one can be a little glitchy at times. I've had students that have encountered trouble with this in the past. If you do run into this, send me a text. We'll work it out together. Let's breeze around session 4 one more time. I've never intended in these videos to cover literally every single thing you do because I know you can read this for yourselves, and I'm also trying to keep these brief and to the point. So we have for session 4, 1 chapter in the text, library tutorials, a practice activity, writing project 1 summary and response, and peer feedback. Under assignments, the critical rereading, adding your 2 responses in the discussion board, the Ivy Tilt exercise, which is a brief quiz, and then turning in writing project 1, the final version, submitting it in 2 places as a Word attachment. The discussion board, we looked at that, the Ivy Tilt exercise, and turning it in those 2 places. That looks like it's it. Although I may not have answered all of your questions, conceivably. So if you have questions or a comment, you want to just tell me how you think the class is going, text me anytime, 812-498-4200. Or if you want to call me, 800-416-1747. If you want to send me an email, the address is mstenger and the number 1 at ivytech.edu. All the grades are posted for sessions 1 and 2. There were just a small handful of students who didn't get all the points possible because they didn't complete everything. I understand things come up, but when it comes to a discussion board, those are easy grades. They can actually balance out if you don't do so well on one of the writing projects. So make sure you cover everything. As we've talked about, this class moves really fast. Good luck on keeping up, everyone. Reach out to me anytime, and I'll see you around.